Thank you. Do you need a microphone?
Do I need one?
Yes.
Yes. So the overall aim with this Erasmus Plus project is to develop teaching methods for including sustainability and resilience, and also to look at it when we use storyline for this. And we are 3 universities included in this Erasmus project. It's this university in Gothenburg, it's Åbo Academy in Finland, which Ann-Katrin is representing, and it's Østfold University in Norway, which Virginia Lockhart Pedersen is representing.
She's over there.
She's in
Yep.
the middle.
I'm up there.
Good.
In Norway.
Good. So
Can you hear me?
The thing was that we were supposed to sit here in 3 chairs and just discuss what are we doing and what have we seen so far in this project. But now we have Jeannie on Zoom instead, so we will try to do this anyway. And I think we will start with you, Virginia, and her presentation.
Okay.
Because you have a presentation and we will go from there.
Yes. Now, I'm wondering, is there an echo? I'm hearing an echo, but do you hear an echo? No? Okay. Then I will share my screen and try to see what happens. Let's see if I can find the right one. Let me know, are you seeing a full storyline research, past, present, and future? Yes?
Yes.
Good, got the thumbs up? Good. What we thought we'd start with is give a little bit of, a little bit of the history here. As we were told yesterday and presented both by Sally and Carol and others with the practicals, the storyline approach has been developed very much through practical experiences and reflection over those experiences to develop it, to make it better. There are seminars that have gone through, workshops, courses. We were told a lot about that yesterday with Carol. And as I could not show you a picture of all the books that are published when it comes to practical knowledge for the storyline approach, but there are many practical books out there. What we are representing is the need that we believe, the need to understand and also reflect through research on our practice. That we know in our hearts, we know in our experience that this works, but research helps solidify that feeling and belief we have about our practices, our teaching practices. So the question we said, and I say we, because there's 2 of us, that my colleague Christina Hög Carlson and myself were asking ourselves, what's the current state of research for the storyline approach in the context of education? And we set out to do a systematic mapping of this to try to get an overview what's going on with research. And in order to start that, we had to say, what do we mean by research? Understand that this whole definition of research has changed from the 1990s till today. So we have a different definition, but our definition in our mapping was that to be research, it should be peer reviewed. That means somebody that is not part of the research program, not part of somebody that's not dependent on the researchers, looks at the research for its quality. It also needs to be transferable, and that means to be presented in a form that makes the results verifiable and can be further used and produced by other researchers. In this manner, the method and analysis needed to be transparent. Oops, sorry, I'm going to go back. Then there's also novelty, and that is it needs to be something that's new, aims to present new findings, improve the existing knowledge in the field. And finally, the audience is actually researchers. When they write to researchers. In our study, what studies we had, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Let's go. In our studies, we found in the first search 1,622 articles. But when we put the criteria on it, there was 111 articles that met all the criteria. And then we read through these 111 articles and found some interesting results. And our results here this is a mapping, right? So we're just kind of see what's out there. What we found is that it's a small number of articles. 111 is not a lot for that many of years that we looked at. Geographically limited, if you look at the picture, the dark areas is where there's 16 or more articles written, but there's a lot of white where there's no articles being written at all. And there's a small, so it's geographically, mostly in Europe and the United States. Russia also is in there, we can call that Europe. It's kind of a, defining those borders is not always so easy, but it's still geographically limited. And there was a lot of repetitive researchers, the same researchers' names came over up again, several times, and mostly women. Then we also found that the focus of research was evenly split on education, 50%, about 50% were education in general, and then the other was on school subjects, school subjects. When it comes to education in general, we found that 70% looked at the storyline approach as an approach. So the the research was looking at the reports. And then the other 50%, interestingly, and Sally pointed this out yesterday, she was very interested in the language part, and that's what was being researched. 50% is on language, and 30% is on social studies. And then the other 20% constitute the other subjects. On the other criteria points we had, few were peer-reviewed, under 50%. Few describe their methodology, so the transparency of what we want, what we say today is good research, was not, there wasn't a lot of them that had that. Even 25% didn't even have a research question. And research questions in the research world, it's not necessarily in a practical world, but in the research world, lets the reader know what is it we're trying to find out, and then the other researchers can use that to possibly try to find out. Again, it has to do with validity with that. So that's what we found out. It's a mapping. And since then, there's been research, and very much good research. We've heard about what's going on with Margareta. There's other projects out there. There's masters that are being written. So this was done 2.5 years ago, and since then, even more has come. So you've got to keep that in mind. The other thing that's important when I give these statistics is we are English-speaking and Scandinavian-speaking. And it's important to remember that there are also research that we know of research, German research that's out there that we just couldn't add because we can't speak German. Russian research, research from Turkey also that was written in a different language for us. So if we could ask what's the way forward? What does this mean? In our mapping, what we said, we would like to see more studies outside of Europe and the United States. What's happening in Japan, questions of why that is. In different subject areas, such as maths, gym, physical education, early childhood education, even earlier than 5 years old, and then even older than 15 years old. Research there. And more high quality research, that research can be validated. And finally, we also would like to see a critical analysis of the storyline approach, asking some questions, giving a dialogue of it. A lot of the research affirmed what we believe and what we know. What we'd like to see is some more research that turns it around and critically analyzes it and analyzes it. you guys have seen lots of these books, so I will keep but they're wonderful, good research and practical books. These books here have a mixture of both research and practical that can be found. So that's the mapping, that's the kind of the background of where we're at. On Christine, I think you're gonna talk about Erasmus Plus projects in general, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and I will take away my screen.
And I take on for a while. And we are zooming in to where we are, the Erasmus project. And the three, as Magan mentioned, we are 3 universities as parts of this Erasmus project, working with these questions, and from each university at least one researcher is part of the project working group. And I think that our task and mission as researchers within the project is twofold. When discussing and processing the core themes of the Erasmus project, we are approaching very tricky and complex concepts. You have probably realized this during these days. We have concepts like sustainability. What is it actually? Resilience, agency, futures literacy, transformative learning, like Maga mentioned yesterday. And I think our first task as researchers is based on former research, our research, to open up these concepts and at least try to explain what they mean, and specific in the meaning, specific the meaning of the concepts in the context of school and learning that we work with. And then I think we have a second task, of course, in the project, is to produce like genuine new research, and that we are doing. As you maybe know, there is already lots of research done according to Education for Sustainability, and the research is done from different perspectives. But there are, in fact, not that much research done with the focus on primary school teaching and learning. There is a brand new international report about older students' feelings about, for example, climate change, but the young students' thinking is not that very clear for us. And as researchers, we are looking at the project themes from 3 different perspectives. We have the teachers working in the fields, in the participating countries and all over. We have the teacher students, and we have the primary school students themselves. And our research is also cumulative. That's that we base our research from the results from each other. So Magan's results are based in the research I'm doing, and so on. And of course, storyline as an approach to teaching is a unifying element in all our research in the project. And now Magan will tell you about what she's working with.
So I told you a bit of this yesterday, but what I wanted to do was I based my new research at Backatorpsskolan. This is not a secret. I based it on my previous study in another primary school, and if you remember the teacher who had painted her neck and she had something on her head, and I saw that the teacher's role was crucial. So I wanted to look at what are the teachers doing together with the students, because there has been an assumption that the teachers, they really plan the storyline in detail and very good, and then kind of back off and just leave the work. But that was not what I had seen. So I wanted to see what is really happening between the teacher and her or his pupils, and what is happening between the pupils, and between the pupils and the material. So I wanted to see the relationships. So as Sally mentioned yesterday, all the different theories that can underpin the storyline, I wanted to add another theory to that, and that was the relational pedagogical approach. So I looked at how are the teachers creating the relationships? What does it look like in the classroom? And what does it mean to the pupils? So if the teachers are really present during the storyline, which they were, what will that do with the pupils? How will they be present? How will they talk about the content and about the work? So that was something that I started to look at. So I have used this relational pedagogy theories, and that concerns care, and it's 3 different kinds of care. They're talking about academic care, that the teachers really want to teach a content and the cross-curricular content. But there is also nurturing care. I care about you as a human being. I want you to feel good in this work. So it's not just about the content, it's really about the relationship. And then there is the intersubjective care that the teacher led in this work. And if they didn't do that, how could the pupils be doing that together? So that is something that I have studied. I've been written now 4 articles about this, and they are submitted. And for those of you who are writing articles, you know you have to wait and wait and wait. So I've been waiting, and I've been received comments on 2 of the articles, and I've submitted them again. So that is what I've been doing. And I'm not a patient person. I don't like to wait. So we wrote the book together that I knew would not be so long waiting time for. So that's where I'm standing now. And this was an action research, I have to say that. So the teachers, 6 teachers, and Eva Marsh as the principal, and 6 student teachers were the action research group. And I'm really proud that we could include the student teachers, because that is not very common in research. So I'm so happy to include you. And of course the teachers did all the work, and I just had to sit in the classroom and enjoy, and write and take photographs. And as Jenny said, it's hard to be really critical when you as a teacher have used the storyline approach yourself, and you like it so much, and you can see all the benefits with it. And then you have to be critical. So that was something that I had to change in my 2 articles that I have received. Because they said, you like it too much. You have to be more critical. So I tried to do that. In a constructive way, of course. So now I think I want to pass on to Jeannie and Ann-Katrin to say
Yes, I
something.
think first.
Yeah. I start. And then I let over to Jenny, back to the presentation. Yeah, I can agree with many points in Magan's description about waiting and struggling with different things. And while I'm waiting, I have the opportunity to be reviewer to different articles, and all the articles I read inspire me to go on. In my former research, I've always been focusing on teachers working in the field and listening to what the teachers are thinking about, what are the perspectives of pupils learning, and mostly in science and environmental learning and these things. But this time, I focused my interest on the pupils thinking and the thinking about the doing and learning, and of course in the frames of the project. And that's why I was so happy to be able to follow a storyline project together with 32 primary school pupils in grade 2. So the pupils were 8 years old. And the team they were working with was life in a fictive village somewhere in the future. And I thought of that when Pella was telling about future thinking. I was trying to travel for just a moment ago. So these pupils made a sort of a time travel, and not only thinking, they were building the village somewhere in the future. And as background, of course, I've been reading a lot about agency and democracy, talking, learning, of course, about sustainability, thinking about sustainability, and one core element of the course is the future's literacy and different perspectives about the future, so-called anticipations. They are focused in this study, and future literacy, as we just discussed and talked about, consists of 3 areas. We're talking about knowledge, emotions, and different skills, as you two mentioned. So after the pupil had worked with the project lasting for about 7 weeks, I made group interviews. You can see group interviews, 8-year-old children. It was marvelous. They were just wonderful, filling in when a pupil stops thinking and another pupil immediately starts and follows. So the sentences were cooperative and collaborative. And of course there were children not talking that much, but listening and being there. And of course they have thinking too. I wanted to hear what the children chose to talk about according to sustainability, about the perceptions, about the learning during the work, and what were the perceptions about agency and hope according to sustainability issues. They have been working with this, but of course they have thinking beyond the project, of course. And that's where I am right now. After the analysis, I have some preliminary results. The pupils are talking about knowledge, different skills that will be needed in the future, but they also mention emotions and social competences. So they are talking exactly the things that the research says are important things in future literacy. And as always, I am also very interested in listening to what the people I'm listening to are not talking about. And these children are not talking about eco-anxiety. They are not talking about it, these young children. That's interesting. So that's where I am right now, and in that work. And now I go over again to Ginny, telling about what they are doing in Norway within the project.
Thank you. Really exciting. I haven't been able to hear your preliminary results, so thank you for sharing that. I'm going to share my screen again, and mostly because it keeps me on track, so I will use that. We have in Halden a little different issues, and that is we're a lot of us. We are a big team of both teacher educators and researchers. In the Erasmus Plus project, there are 4 others that are in the project with it. So it's a different coordination and focus that we have. In the project, this is what the 2 questions or the 2 areas that we were to look into. That participatory storyline. I'm thinking experiencing storyline, and how does that bring insight to resilience and sustainability. And for us, it's student teachers, but also possibilities of placement teachers, and for ourselves as teacher educators. What is that? And then the other one is what kind of voices or feelings are essential for participants to find their role in the development of understanding such complex issues. So we are also building on that relational or emotional perspective. Now, COVID caused some problems. We were supposed to be getting different data, and because of COVID with everybody else, we had to take everything online. We are a wonderful team that said, okay, we're going to do it. So we managed to do a storyline online 100% with, I think, 73 students with breakout rooms. And have some data there, too, that we've gathered about the students' experience through the digital. We also have been out developing storylines with this, the pictures of that's in the upper right-hand corner is a storyline that's been developed for high schools that we've been trying to go out and get teacher educators to do and use. But COVID has caused some issues. But we do have specific Erasmus Plus research, and my colleague Hanna Pilskog, she presented this yesterday, and so I have stolen some of her slides of what the presentation was. But what she's done is a quantitative research. And to my knowledge, and Christina, I asked her yesterday, this is the only research based on quantitative methods. And what she was looking at is trying to use a questionnaire to, can we use this questionnaire in a storyline situation to see if the student teachers experience, their experience of awareness and sustainable development. I showed the pictures of she did a wonderful job of explaining how the questionnaire goes into knowledge, attitude, and behavior, and gave examples of that. And then she also showed the results, preliminary results of her research, because right now she's also collected, and I say she, it's a team, excuse me, the team is there, but Hannah presented yesterday. But the preliminary results are really exciting, that this questionnaire can be used, I'll use this, this questionnaire can document a change in student teachers' knowledge, attitude, and knowledge and attitude about sustainability through this storyline project. I have to be careful, it's not because they do storyline and therefore they have a change, but it's that we can use this as a measurement of types of changes that happen after going through the project. How am I doing for time? Yeah. Then there's other Erasmus Plus projects that are going on. The first one is my colleague that's also coordinating with another university And she's looking at the schemes, or the, Sally used the word themes yesterday, on how they, analyzing those and how they express express sustainable development. How do they approach a sustainable development in the schemes of storyline? And she's gone into different already online schemes that are there. Then the other projects are connected to what Margareta, these are all connected, but I could see after Margareta explained about the relational pedagogy, we are interested also in finding out, after going through a storyline on sustainability, what professional development occurs through both the student teachers' professional development, teacher educators. And here's the one that we're in the preliminary. We've got data, but we're in the preliminary of our own. We've taped our own planning meetings and our reflection meetings while we have done our storyline. And we're looking at how does this, how does this affect us professionally as teacher educators? And using those three, that was with the academic care, because that pull of academics, what's the subject in there, but also our interrelationship within us. That is the storyline project. I want to present, because we have such a good, interesting, and a very wonderful team at the college. We have other projects going on that are right in the middle that have to do also with storyline and sustainability issues. Mathematics, we're trying to bring that into also more to light in the storyline review, and how the principles emerge in the first stage of reading and writing. That's done with colleagues that work on early education. And the final that I want to do a slide, and then I'd like to just take it as a conversation. But we also at our university, we have now started a research and development group that focuses on storyline, so that our energy and our time that we've been working with storyline can be also supported financially through the university. And through this, we are trying to develop a combination of practical and research, new books that are taking in. For Norway, we have 3 interdisciplinary topics that follow our pupils from first grade all the way to they are finished when they're 17, 18, and 19. And we want to look how storyline can highlight or be used in these interdisciplinary topics, both research and practical for those books that are happening. So I'm going to turn off my stop share, and then with my colleagues that are in the ERASMUS Push project, I was smiling because one of the things that is different at the college where I'm working at is we are implementing at the same time as we're trying to research. And it does create a different stress moment, maybe we could say, or focus for us. We haven't had the luxury in the college student college to be the researcher on the outside just researching. We've also been developing, we've also been implementing, and trying to research at the same time. And that's what I have for us.
I think it's time for us to wrap this up.
Yeah. Do you want to say something?
How are we doing?
No, yes, I want to say something. I want to say that I didn't say much about my results here because the teachers here are having their presentations here today, so I want you to listen to them instead of listening to me. Thank you.